The Coca-Cola of Kokomo Elite Series is in the final couple rounds of the season, and we head to Long Beach for the third to last round of the year. In a couple weeks, we're going to head to Circuit of the Americas and then to Indianapolis to finish everything off. But tonight, it's a trip around one of the most historic street layouts in American road racing history. We're proud to bring it to you right here on SYM TV. My name's Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna tonight for 51 laps of IndyCar action at Long Beach. Finian, this is a racetrack that has lots of racing history at it, and tonight we're going to race over 30 drivers, almost 40 drivers here tonight in the Indy Elite Series, so very excited to get this one underway.
Yeah, indeed. This is technically the first street course that iRacing added to this service. However, as you can see in some of the promo shots, so it has not been completed yet. Hopefully one day we'll see this track finally completed in its glory with all the buildings and scenery surrounding it, making it look fantastic. But at the very least, we got the racing surface, and it's definitely really bumpy and really treacherous for these guys out here. The walls centimeters from the racing surface, if not right up to the racing surface. So these guys gotta watch out and be careful around here, because this track can claim a lot of cars.
Qualifying is underway here early in the night, and again, a 51-lap adventure. You can see the laser scan dots. This is actually a really cool look at kind of behind the scenes of iRacing here, Finian. All those little gray dots are laser scan points, and this is part of iRacing's laser scanning system that makes the tracks very accurate. This track, like New Jersey Motorsports Park, was never completed. A lot of the reason due to technical limitations from 2011, 2012. So those limitations really no longer exist in the way that they did back then, but this track still hasn't really seen the light of day in a finished state. But we're going to race on it tonight. The racetrack itself is complete. The curbing is all there. The road surface is there. Everything else works.
Everything you need to drive on it, it's perfectly there. Although I imagine for these guys it'll be a little bit harder, because with the lack of scenery really other than the point cloud, you kind of have to rely on less braking markers, more so on the track, or if not the few turns that have markers next to them.
So we're going to step away for a moment in just a few minutes to hear from our sponsor, Coca-Cola of Kokomo. But for a couple minutes, let's just take a look at some of these cars rolling around here, Finney, because there are a few names that we need to keep an eye on. Zach Campbell in this 144. We know how good he is at road courses, but Adam Blocker right now sitting on provisional pole in his #1 car, so maybe he can seal a victory here at Long Beach.
Yeah, he's looking pretty fast. He's not had the luck in recent weeks to really get himself in the points. We were talking about him. He had a bad finish last week when we were out on the track at Barber, and it did not do well there, so he's looking to kind of bring himself back up again, not necessarily in the championship fight, but is looking for a solid finish. Christian Steele, new driver, we saw it in Barber last week. He did pretty well and is doing pretty well here at another road course in 5th at the moment.
And he's a hometown boy tonight, Finian, from California, so this is his home turf, and we'll see how good he can run in this number 50 car here. So about 6 minutes left in qualifying, and most of the drivers have already laid down lap times. Adam Blocker, Campbell, O'Connor, Bennett, and Steele are top 5. Andrew Kinsella in the 14, he ran top 10 last week at Barber Motorsports Park as well. Ray Kingsbury in the 25, he's on course right now, heads down into turn #1 in the Spark VR cover. We're going to step away just for a moment and hear from our sponsor, Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
My father's father had 2 brothers and a sister. His older sister, Hazel, had married a man named Jim Yunker, and he was involved in the bottling business early on, as early as 1906 in Indianapolis, and he sold flavors. He would have had grape, cream soda, blood orange, ginger ale. In 1915, he got the franchise for Coca-Cola in Indianapolis. So then we fast forward 20 years later to 1935, Jim Yunker approached my grandfather and his 2 brothers and said the franchises in Kokomo, Logansport, and Peru are available for sale, and you guys want this. Trust me, you want to get in the Coca-Cola business.
action. There's Philip Kraus, number 19, points leader right now in the Coca-Cola of Kokomo Elite Series here, Finian. But tonight is a challenge like he hasn't seen yet this season, a tight street course. One track that we haven't been to with this series is Belle Isle. It's very similar in many ways, but I'd say this is even more of a challenge, especially because of that last corner. We were watching during that commercial break how tight it is and how hard it is to get these long wheelbase open wheel cars around this final corner. We're going to ride on board with Philip Kraus here in a moment as he goes through it.
Yeah, it's trying to get into the show. You definitely expect the 19 to be in there. So you can handle the tight last final corner. That's going to be a trouble spot. We're just talking about it too. You expect to see a pile up at some point in the race, more likely in the first few laps. The 19 of Kraus gets across the line. It's going to be 107 all the way up to 12.
Yeah, not a bad run at all. So one of the other major discussions that we have to have here tonight, Finian, is about the push to pass, because there were some adjustments made this week, Finian, that are going to make your life a little bit easier around Long Beach. You have 10 applications of a little bit of a power boost. Tell me about it.
Yeah, and iRacing also just made a change that way we can actually finally see push pass, so we don't no longer have to just kind of guess when guys are actually using it. So you get 10 uses available to you, gives you a bump in horsepower, and allows these guys to really use that plus the slipstream to make overtakes happen. We're pretty much exclusively going to see guys use it on the front straightaway. That's the best chance to use it. It's the longest straight on the track, and you'll probably most likely see a lot of passes into turn one. You can see also pass on the back straightaway. Maybe the guys get desperate, they might use the push pass to an advantage, but definitely is going to be used quite a bit here. Well, these guys have to use it sparingly.
Let's take a little bit more of a deeper look into the car that we're racing here tonight, Finian. It's the Dallara IR18, and here is a look. It is a beautiful racing machine with a brand new aero screen just put on a couple weeks ago to make sure the drivers are safe and sound within the cockpit here. But tell me about this race car.
A beautiful race machine. You're just saying these guys have able to slip through the air due to how sleek the car is, and especially with the aero as you're looking here on the road course. And then also power-wise, these guys have 550 to 700 brake horsepower at their disposal, 300 pounds per feet of torque, powered by a V6 2-liter turbo.
They're quick little race cars, and they only weigh about 1,500 pounds, so they go like hell when they go. There's Adam Crane in the number 6. I think he's got, I don't know if that's a paint scheme adjustment, but it looks like he's got a spec map on board this car this week on his Lucas livery. So he's going to head down into the first corner. Qualifying almost complete. He's only 16th quick on the timing and scoring right now, and we're almost done putting in laps, so he's not going to get to go all the way back around again. We're probably just logging laps for practice. So the only driver to break 1 minute and 7 seconds is Zach Campbell in the 144. And he has been rock solid the last couple weeks in that car. Actually, last week only in that car. 10 seconds left in qualifying. Eric O'Connor, third best in the 74.
And just seeing where the 74 ends up through the order. I want Flynn Lazier up in 4th place in the 4 car. He had a fantastic qualifying effort as the session's going to tick over here. And we get ready for the race session. Ooh, notably, Matt Kingsbury did not qualify. Oh, so he's going to be out.
All right, so we'll head down to the grid here in just a moment to bring you your order. Again, we're going to have a pace lap before we turn them loose. It'll be about a 57-minute race if we go green from start to finish. And last week at Barber, we didn't go green from start to finish. Wow, that is empty looking. There is the void down there. We didn't go green from start to finish. We had a caution on the opening lap. It was quite the mess at the start. Yeah. And I was told before this broadcast started that full tires are going to be a heck of a challenge.
Yeah, these first few laps are definitely going to be a learning experience for these drivers, just to kind of feel out the car and what they're going to have to deal with. And you definitely want to take that time to build up some heat before you start pushing, because again, there's no runoff room around here. There's maybe like a few corners that have a little bit of an escape road at the end of the straights, but other than that, you've got no place to, no room for error. And if you do, you're going to end up in the wall, damaging your wings, going to have to come down and replace it, or even worse, get suspension damage and you're going to have to retire.
So we got 33 cars, actually 34 cars on the grid here tonight. Let's take a roll through our starting lineup. And last week, winner to first week pole sitter, it's Zach Campbell on the front row alongside Adam Blocker, last season's champion. He rolls off second in his number 1.
Moving on back to row number 2 and find Eric O'Connor in the 74 from Indiana, next to Flynn Lazier on the 4 in 4th.
And moving on back to road number 3, it's going to be Joshua Chin. He's been a winner on road courses and ovals before in this series. He'll start in row 3. Henry Bennett, the 007, rolls off in 6th.
Moving on back another row, we find Christian Steele in 7th place in the 50, and he's going to be lined up next to Riley Thompson in 8th.
In 9th place, Matt Pavelski in the number 12 from Pennsylvania. On the outside will be the 87 in 10th place, Jamie Wilson.
We'll be back. We find Marshall Stanley in the 55, going to be starting 11th, 12th in the 19.
Brian Carey rolls off in 13th in the 79, and Jason Brophy won a couple races this season. He rolls off 14th at his number 88.
Then we find Frank Levick the 4th in the 77 in 15, next to Adam Crane in the 6th car in 16th.
17th place, Andrew Kinsella, and Liam Quinn will roll off to his outside. The Brit will roll off 18th in his number 24.
Right behind, we find Chad Simpson in 19 in the 42, and Andreas Ike in 20th in the 76. We got some EOLs already.
Yeah, EOLs for Cohen Evans, Chris Stouffer, Adam Blocker, Flynn Lazier, and Charles Ante. So Flynn Lazier and Adam Blocker both were starting inside the top 10, so they'll have to drop all the way to the back. And Zach Campbell, the last week's winner at Barber, he's going to roll off first, and it'll be Henry Bennett to his outside.
And I cannot imagine a worse place to have an EOL than at Long Beach. Well, Blocker's got a long night ahead of him here, as the pace cars are going to come out of the final corner here, going to dip off on a pit road, and we're going to get ready to start this race.
Equipment failure for Matt Kingsbury is the reason why he's out here tonight, so he will not make it to the grid. He'll just have to watch this evening. 51 laps at Long Beach. It's Zach Campbell in command of the field. Green flag flies, and we're racing in California at Long Beach. The run down to turn one, there's Joshua Chin on the inside of Riley Thompson. He'll go through, and everyone's slowing up, and you got to be real careful here if you not get yourself in trouble this early in the race. Look how tight this is through turn two. Bit of a stack up, some contact, and everyone coming to a halt. There's a car stuck in big trouble down in turn two. This is almost certainly going to be a full force caution.
It's a traffic jam down by the fountain in turns 2 and 3.
There
Caution out.
Caution is out. And it's an absolute roadblock down there. And just like last week, we have a first lap yellow.
As everyone is trying to, poke their way through. There we go. Got the traffic jam cleared. Very fitting that we're on on streets.
Well, I'm very glad that they did throw this caution, because there's nothing more frustrating than having to start in the back. And you saw, Flynn Lazier and also the one of Adam Blocker, who somehow got through this without any damage. We're gonna go back and actually see what their view looked like as they got stuck in this mess. So let's find Blocker, and we'll ride on board here as they headed to turn 2. We have to go back a little farther, and here is a look. And they did a really good job. A little bit of contact there, but I think he got through okay. I didn't see where this started. I think it was the 8 car of Gabriel Perez that was the first car to get stuck.
He got stuck by the fountain.
This is through turn 1, and then a run up to turn 2 where the fountain is. And there was already stacking up a little bit. There's Chad Simpson.
Yeah, it was a domino effect, and he actually gets shoved in the way.
I think that is Chris Cahill, I believe, in the 57 car that was turned around sideways, and that was what really held up the rest of the field.
And you can hear too, there's some bits of some damage going on between some other guys, and then it was just kind of a domino effect as guys started to slowly check up, and Perez got put into the wall, and everyone else was kind of stuck in behind. So nice to see a caution fly, because those guys literally would have been stuck there for quite a while. So everyone can kind of get back together, and those guys can get a chance to repair their cars. Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of repairs that need to happen, especially front, rear, and rear wings. You see Clark Archer in the Apex Racing Group, number 29. He's got a lot of damage to that front wing. We saw Chris Cahill with damage. Chris Stouffer, I think he might have escaped without too much. Some of the drivers towards the back were able to stop before they got into the fray. Looks like Stouffer was one of those drivers. Up at the front, though, Zach Campbell was actually pulling away pretty significantly. The other thing about Long Beach, Finney, these pace laps are slow.
Oh, yeah, I forgot how slow the pace car goes around
25 miles an hour around Long Beach.
Yeah, that's the...
This is stalling speed for these cars, and the only thing keeping these cars from stalling is either driver pushing in the clutch or the anti-stall systems that these things are equipped with. This is very uncomfortable for these cars to be running around here so slow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is brutal for these drivers. They just wanted to get up and go, and now they have to slow on down. And the people get plenty of times to repair their cars in the pits. Gabriel Perez, that thing might not be repairable with the condition it's in. Look at that left side floor.
Yeah, again, the wings aren't really the bad part. Those can always be replaced. We're really just looking at, the floor, the body work, especially the side pods on these things. That's the stuff you really can't fix. You can repair it, but you can't replace it. That's where a lot of the damage is going to end up lying.
I really feel for race control right now, because I know they didn't want to throw the caution, because I'm sure they are aware of how ridiculously slow the pacing speed is around here.
Yeah, I completely forgot. I remember doing a race here quite a while ago, and the pace speed being painfully slow, but yeah.
again, this is it was a necessity. You need to throw a caution for something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they did. However, the drivers, I'm sure, are probably just chomping at the bit to get back going. So it's going to be a little while before we see them back up at full speed. We want to thank again our sponsors, Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Kokomo, Indiana, for coming on board sponsoring this season. It's amazing how fast this season went by. Circuit of the Americas in 2 weeks. The week after Easter, then we're going to head to Indianapolis to round off the season. It's already over.
And that's going to be a full race at Indianapolis. It's not just called a 500 just, to imitate the real world one. It's actually going to be 500 miles, 200 laps at Indianapolis. So that's going to be a fun race, especially these guys have put on a phenomenal job, especially on the speedways. Keeping the caution counts low.
Ooh, Drifterino for the pace car.
Yeah, really
sideways through the final corner.
Yeah, drifting with a Porsche, that's impressive stuff.
And back around onto the front straightaway again.
You know what? Part of me's never really wondered. I guess is why they never have the pit just go like that.
I don't know.
What I'm pointing at is where the cones are lying. I kind of always wonder that.
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. My feeling is it would save you so much time that you could probably gain an advantage through there. The other thing is, this pit road is so long here, they don't really need it. That extra little bit.
Right.
So I think they're fine. Anyway, we got the one, the green lights are on the pace car. It's going to be another 3.5 minutes till we see the green flag here. That's just how long it has been. So we're going to pull up the timing and scoring on the left-hand side of the screen again. Let's talk a little bit about last week's race at Barber Motorsport Park. It was Zach Campbell, who is your leader now, that went to victory lane there. In second place last week was Andreas Eich in the 76. And I'm looking down the order to find where he is tonight. And he's all the way back in 22nd.
Yeah, and he's coming to the pits to get some repairs. So he's gonna still probably. Oh, I actually already got the repairs. I think everyone's going back out.
Philip Kraus was another driver that was on the podium last week at Barber, and Kraus is up in ninth place.
And so the field is going by so slow. These guys have to stack up at the exit pit road. Now they can finally go.
And just slip that clutch and get yourself back on course, and you actually have to watch out and you don't rear end somebody in all this chaos because of how slow everybody's going. Can you imagine, we're riding on board with drivers that are going 25 miles an hour. Can you imagine what it's going to be like next lap around coming down here at 180?
Yeah, it's going to be a stark difference for some of these guys.
160 miles an hour worth of difference. That's a whole lot. And get through turn 2 again. And we're no guarantee that we're not going to have the same thing happen again, although at some point I'm sure the race controls can say suck it up.
I'm amazed that 57 has not come down for repairs. I'm curious if he even realizes he has damage.
Cahill in the 57.
Yeah.
Who is currently scored in 20th place, and I feel like he's got the rear wing's still a little bent.
Not even the rear wing's the problem. Look at the front wing. The front wing's obliterated. Well, I shouldn't say he's obliterated. The parts are still there. They're just crumpled up quite a bit, so he's going to lose a lot of front end bite.
Would you consider this place a downforce track? What kind of downforce do you think they're running?
No, but at the same time, you're gonna need every little bit, and especially I was running different configurations. Granted, this was on the base iRacing setup, but I was messing around with between the high downforce and the medium downforce. And there is quite a bit of a difference, especially in the braking ability. You wouldn't think that it would matter a lot, but having the wings up at a higher degree, it helps the car slow down in some of these braking zones, and especially turns like this. You're sweeping through. These guys are coming here at a decent rate of speed, and especially getting on the gas to the extra aero helps keep the cars planted. Because again, you don't really need a lot of straightaway speed at a track like this, mainly on the front straight. So I would be a little bit concerned with KO. It's not even just really about speed, but more so just stability.
So the other thing I'm worried about right now is we have not been going anywhere near fast enough to keep heat in these tires. They are likely as cold as ice coming back to the restart. The only thing you could be doing is dragging your brake, which we've seen in the past hasn't been incredibly effective on these cars. So we better hope and pray that everyone's got heat left in these Firestones before we turn them back loose. So we're going to see the same thing happen again.
Yeah, there's all 30 some odd cars in frame there.
All 34, and it looks like Gabriel Perez is back out on track, and he's had time to completely repair that car. So
he's only a lap down.
Yeah, blessing in disguise for him. It's unlikely he'll ever get that lap back the way things are looking, but either way, he's going to be tacked back on and gets to race.
This is going to be a torturous restart for some guys in the back here, because remember, we're going to restart single file. Only a few guys are going to be able to get past the hairpin.
And Campbell's going to go immediately. We saw this last week as well. He went as soon as that pace car drove off. We're going to see the same thing again here. Yeah. Getting a good run onto the straightaway. Lining himself up. As soon as that pace car makes the move, he's going to throttle up and be gone. Zach Campbell won at Barber Motorsport Park last week. Caution slowing our progress early here at Long Beach. And the green flag is going to fly again. Lap number 4. Let's try this again.
Heading down into turn 1, there's still guys in the back coming through the hairpin now. There's so many cars coming through. Single file now, so this should be a little bit of an easier time through the fountain.
And it looks like that's going to be the case. They're not trying to go double wide. There's Adam Blocker in the mix right behind Chad Simpson. That is 17th place on track. And the rest of the field's going to sneak on through. And again, that's going to spread everybody out. So it's going to certainly make for some cleaner racing for the time being. But out in front, Campbell's gone. 1.5 seconds already. Bennett, O'Connor, Joshua Chin in 4th. And Riley Thompson with his new team sits in 5th right now.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well. You know, it's really just been a team change, but it's been working out pretty well ever since he's left. That new car has been, certainly the paint scheme's been up in the front quite a bit. And also looking at Christian Steele out of line, who he's dropping.
Yeah, he's slowing down. He's going to tuck in behind Philip Kraus in the 19.
Not sure there is a problem with his car.
Cohen's flying in the background, and those are actually a problem here because if you get those stuck underneath your front wing, Finian, it is a very bad time.
Yeah, you lose all downforce there, and it's going to hurt your performance. Coming out of the hairpin. Whoa! Blocker almost got beached up at the apex. That was really close.
And everyone look at this complete stop for Chris Schofer back there in the 13, one of those drivers that was serving in EOL for penalties from last week. Back up at the front, there's Henry Bennett. And Eric O'Connor's got a rear mirror full of Joshua Chin right in his tailpipes.
Yeah, Henry Bennett definitely needs to hold on to the second place. He's trying to chase down Philip Kraus and is running out of rounds to chase down our points leader. So this is a day where he needs to do pretty well. Looking at Joshua Chin in 4th, trying to catch up to the 2 guys ahead.
And it's extraordinarily difficult to pass here, Finney. And again, everyone loves this track because of the spectacle, not necessarily because it's fun to race. It's certainly fun to hot lap, but it's so difficult to make a pass on other drivers without doing something absolutely terrifying. So I think we're going to see a lot of single file racing. There's Chad Simpson and Brendan Lichtenberg in the 10. Lichtenberg's going to go through to 19th after he started this race in 22nd. Those tire barriers on track out will get you as well, so you have to be careful not to catch those when you leave the corner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andreas Eich last week was sitting on the podium. This week, all the way back in 21st, there's Cahill, who had damage from that first incident.
Yeah, it's going to take Eich a long time to work through 20-some-odd cars at a track like this. Passing is going to come at a premium here.
Oh, look at them bouncing and the bunny hopping as they come through such a tight corner. Up the road, 12th place Marshall Stanley under attack from Brian Carey in the 79. Here he comes in the inside for turn 1.
Going to take the spot that opened up the door for Kinsella to potentially have a look, but Kinsella going to sit back in 14th.
One day we'll have the flowers in the fountain there. It'll look really pretty.
Oh, and the water physics too, because like what they have at Detroit.
Today is not that day. Clark Archer, this is down in turn 1. Big trouble for him. He was involved in the first wreck of the night, and he'll be involved in the second. Let's go back and see what caused this incident. And here is a look. Down into turn 1. Oh, locked up and got the inside wall, and there's Christopher, got a piece of it as well, and that's too much rear brake bias there, Finian, for Clark Archer. Back up at the front, though, Zach Campbell leads the way by 3 seconds over Henry Bennett. This is looking like another shutout by the 144.
Yeah, absolutely. No one's been able to keep up, and there's the gap you can see right there. And how many cars are in behind Bennett? It's an equal gap. Ooh, I think I saw a spin in the back.
Oh, it's Clark. Nope. I don't know if we did see that.
Oh, maybe I was just seeing things.
You could have been. I thought it was Clark Archer, but he's already just reset back to the pit, so no challenge there, no problems. Let's jump a little bit deeper in the field. How about Ray Kingsbury in the Spark VR number 25? Started in 21st, slipped backwards here again. He was one of the drivers kind of packed in like sardines in the turn 2 incident on lap number 1.
Yeah, coming back more or less where he started, obviously a little bit lower than he would ideally like to be, but now just trying to work his way through the order.
Didn't really have a chance to look at the weather here today, Finian, but how about this? 67 degrees, kind of a cool day here in California, but track surface 98, a little bit toastier.
Yeah, the surface is pretty warm, all things considered, especially again roasting in the California sun.
Liam Quinn in the 24 car has had an up and down season for sure. Started this night in 18th. He's climbed 3 spots and now sets his sights on Marshall Stanley, who we've seen not a whole lot in the top 15 this year, and he's dropped a couple spots from where he started, but that Matt Black car kind of sneaking his way inside the top 15 here very stealthily with that paint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll see how much further you can climb up. And just kind of looking at these guys' lap times, he's a little bit off pace on the guys ahead of him with a 1:10.3.
So the other thing we have to keep an eye on tonight is push to pass. We talked about it briefly. We'll be able to see that on the steering wheel. It'll be a green surround on the dash and a couple blinking lights on either side that should warn us if anybody's using push to pass. You only have 10 applications. I'm sure a lot of drivers will save it towards the end, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, you don't want to use it up early. You definitely want to use it where you can early on, but you want to try, if you can, to save your uses for the end of the race. Because again, these guys have to make a pit stop, so the order they're running in is not definite. You can pass people on pit road, so a lot of guys might wait for that first pit stop to then start using it.
Philip Kraus has just gone through Jamie Wilson for 7th place. I wanted to take a look at the brake rotors on these front cars. Look how much they're glowing already, how much brakes they're using to slow these cars down.
Yeah, actually, let's try more with the 87. He might use some push pass here. We'll right on board on the roll bar here. Let's take a look. It would have engaged.
I should probably not show that and cover up our...
Yeah, he would have used it already.
So again, the driver's being really conservative with it. Chris Cahill in the 57.
Oh,
he's in the middle of a big fight right now. There's Charles Ante in the 26 and Andrew Wood right in front.
Oh, and a big checkup. Oh, Stover almost hooked around.
Oh, did he get more damage? I'm not sure if that was
No,
that.
That was what he got from before with Archer spitting in turn 1.
Way in the background, you see Joe Flanagan. Oh no, Joe Flanagan. That's not Joe Flanagan. That is the 27 John Poole.
Yeah, Flanagan changes paint scheme. That's been throwing us up quite a bit.
I know, because again, Poole's driving colors that are very similar to what Flanagan used to drive. There's Joe Branch. This has not been a great start for him.
And I mean, Branch's been having a really good season, all things considered. He's currently 4th in the point standings, but he started 34th.
Dead last tonight.
Yeah, he barely made it in, so this is not particularly a good race for him so far. Back in 29th.
For 2nd place, here's Eric O'Connor. We'll ride on board with him as he gets in the draft. And still not using push to pass here. And again, I'm a little bit surprised. I thought we'd see more drivers using it, but again, perhaps saving it to the end. And looking out to drivers left into turn number 1 and closing in for 2nd, his last lap. It was recorded as a 108.4. Bennett's was a 108.5, so slightly faster. Brendan Lichtenberg, Finian, hitting pit lane. Is this part of the strategy? Blocker's down there as well.
Definitely not part of the strategy.
Oh no, it wasn't Lichtenberg, it was just Blocker.
Oh, not sure what that's all about. Let's take a look at the one car.
Is there damage on this car? I don't see any.
Definitely cannot make it to the end on fuel from here, I can tell you that. So, not sure what's quite up with the one.
Well, we'll find out. There's Jamie Wilson again in the 87 car. It's a 5.5 second lead, but now look at this for 2nd. Eric O'Connor closing on Bennett and Joshua Chin not too far back.
Now O'Connor eyeing up the pass on Bennett to get around, and this might be ideal for the 74 of O'Connor to use some push to pass here to get past the 007, have at least a chance to get up to Campbell.
There it is, push to pass on the 74. You see the green surround on the dashboard, the extra boost of power. Can he close in at all?
You got too poor of an exit off the final corner. You might be able to maybe make a lunge, a desperate lunge.
He's not close
enough. Back up, so yeah, that's one less use that he has available to him.
So it will not be a one-stop race tonight, Finney. We're hearing it's going to be a two-stopper. So Blocker is in, and he'll make the first stop and get himself out of traffic. I like that call right now. Get yourself out of the dirty air. Whoa, real close to the wall is the 74 of Eric O'Connor. Like no other intense battles on the racetrack right now. Again, the brakes glowing in. How much you're gonna have to conserve your brakes along with your tires today. I have to imagine leading on this much, you're not really gonna experience brake fade. Ooh, Brian Carey's around. Looped, I think it's the exit to turn 5. Let's see exactly what happened here. Was there a touch or too much curb here? Does he hit the, no? Just bumpy, hit the throttle too much, Finney.
Yeah, that's a common place to end up looping it around, so. Ooh, he actually hit the wall as he was trying to get the car turned back around. You can see some damage to the rear of that car.
And there's Brendan Lichtenberg right in front of him in the number 10 car. He started in 22nd. And he's gained a couple spots. There's another cone flying, and that's something, again, there's so many cones around this racetrack. You don't want to get them stuck up underneath your wing because sometimes they're very hard to remove. So you got to be careful, watch the track limits here tonight. You can also get yourself penalty for not careful enough. There's Charles Ante in the 26 back here. Chris Stouffer, we've seen him get damage earlier, but back for 2nd place. Eric O'Connor is still leaning on the rear wing of the 007.
He's been tempted to get around Bennett, but has not been able to find a way around.
Christopher looks like he is potentially in his box. Oh, yep, looks like he's in. I'm not sure if that, I don't know if that was, I don't trust that. That looked very strange to me. I feel like he's had an incident. Yes, he has.
Oh.
Here's a look. This is in the final corner. Does he not make the turn? Oh, he's just gonna loop it and park it at the fence.
That's quite a bit. I think he figured, I'm already past the pit road entry. I'm just gonna park it.
There's Brendan Lichtenberg and Brian Carey, who we just saw had a spin, but Carey's had quite a bit of pace. Even last week at Barber Motorsport Park, we've seen the 79 be pretty competitive as the other couple of drivers dropping down the order. Christian Steele's going to hit pit lane. It looks like Matt Pavelski will also do that. So a few more drivers coming down to pit road. Ray Kingsbury in the 25, the Spark VR car. That last corner, what's the strategy for attacking that? We've seen a lot of people trying to late apex it, but you see, if you get too much curve, it kind of sends your car to a bounce.
Yeah, you really need to be careful the way you come off of it. Obviously you want to push, but you also got to wait just a little bit to get onto the throttle, otherwise you find yourself spinning around like we've seen a few guys, especially Christopher recently. So you need to be careful. I think a lot of these guys, again, too, are also prioritizing the exit. You don't really want to prioritize entry. See Caleb Weekly got a little bit loose. Henry Bennett's going to get on by him.
Yeah, a lot of lap cars in the way of these, the second, third, and fourth battle, and Joshua Chin has actually caught Bennett and O'Connor here. Right on board again, see if there's more push to pass in use by either of these two drivers. Doesn't look like they will. And they're being very, very careful about not using it when they don't, or when they can't complete a pass. But really, the front straightaway is the only place you'd ever want to use it around here. It's definitely one of those rhythm tracks. You got to get into a rhythm here.
Easy to lose a rhythm too. When you have either a caution coming out, although the likelihood of us seeing another one coming out is very, very low. But I shouldn't say very low. We are at Long Beach.
There's for fifth. Here's Riley Thompson and Philip Kraus. Kraus had actually last time by was only a 10th off the leader's pace, so he's got a whole lot of steam.
See if he can get by Riley Thompson. It'll be interesting if he can make a pass on the back straightaway here. Not that good of an exit off the corner.
And I feel like a lot of these street tracks, because their exits are so restricted, it can be very frustrating waiting to get back on throttle until you're out of the corner. Because if you commit to the throttle a second too early, you're going to pack yourself in the wall. So you're waiting for these guys to straighten the wheel out, and then they plant the throttle to the floor. And he's right up on the tailpipes of the 58. And there's the throttle.
No push pass for Kraus. He might just try to use this with just good old slipstream.
When you're close enough, you might as well use it.
Not gonna quite get there, so he's gonna still be in behind Riley Thompson for at least another lap. Ooh, Thompson got really close to the tire wall there. You saw him had a let off on exit, allowed Kraus to get pretty close to him.
Yeah, and that's, again, one of those, Brian Carey is hit, oh, he's around, actually. I thought he had hit pit lane, but he spun the car around again. The second time that he's had an issue tonight. Here's a look. This is down at, I believe, turn 9. And, understeered into the wall, then back across the racetrack.
And also, as we looked at that, Kraus got around Riley Thompson.
Oh, just in that 2 seconds?
Yeah. If we want to take a look back and see, because you passed him an interesting part of the track where you normally wouldn't expect to pass.
Yeah, this is, actually, this was turn 4, I believe. Oh,
yeah, I saw him have a dive here. I didn't think he was actually going to be able to hold it, but made the entry into turn 4 and then got it in turn 5.
And just drove across the nose in the 58 once he had gotten there. That's all fair legal game. Once you're alongside, you got the right to the corner, so he was able to take that position, move himself up into 5th place, and where he started, Finian, back in 12th. So he's one of our big movers up at the front of the field.
This is why he is the points leader. He's got 70 points over Henry Bennett, so he's doing a great job of just trying to minimize the gap of anything. Bennett currently running in 3rd.
Jamie Wilson's been running some pretty solid laps, too. He's also catching Riley Thompson.
Oh, okay. Actually, also, yeah, Bennett's running in 3rd, so O'Connor was able to get her around the 007.
So he's also snuck by there.
After, if he can, try to maybe make an indent to Campbell. Campbell's on another level. As we see Joshua Chin, he's had some trouble.
He's actually just hit pit lane scheduled stop, I think.
I don't know. I don't see an undercover on the back of that thing.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
There has been trouble for the 93. He hasn't been here for all that long, so let's go back. Oh, this is a big one. There's a look.
Let's see how this happened.
Down into turn 1, maybe lock the rears. Oh, he's actually going to understeer and catch the wall and exit, and up and over he went. And just like that, our 4th place runner out of this thing, that moves Kraus up to 4th. And he's 16 seconds back from the leader. I don't think it's feasible that he'll get all the way back to Campbell, but he might catch Bennett and O'Connor.
I was going to say, if I'm just him, I'm just focused on Bennett. And he does have a 70-point lead. That's over a race worth of points if you win. So he's got a solid gap to Bennett, but you don't want to let up too easily. Remember, the last round is at Indianapolis as a double points round. So there's a mathematical shot that Bennett can get back at him, but Kraus is just trying to minimize that as much as possible.
Christian Steele and Charles Andy, this is for 18th place, and right in front of them is Ray Kingsbury for 17th. We'll see if this battle turns into anything. What about the aero wash? How bad is it here today? Is it worse than we would have seen last week at Barber, or do you think a little bit better because we're not quite such high speeds?
Yeah, I think it would have definitely been worse at Barber. Barber has a lot more high downforce corners than Long Beach. Long Beach, a lot of these corners are relatively low downforce to the point where you're not really leaving that much of a shadow in behind you, so... really, I would say probably the worst spots maybe turn 1 and probably turns 6 and 8.
There comes Christian Steele to run to the inside down in turn number 1, and I'm sure that was on push to pass. He's going to go through to 17th. And nice and tight to the inside apex of turn 2. Back up the road, Adam Crane, Jason Brophy, Andrew Kinsella. This is a fight for 7th.
Brophy third in the points. He's trying to have a decent day. I got some wing damage too. If I'm not mistaken, that wing looks a little bit higher on the left side. Yeah.
A little bit.
Definitely got some damage at some point. Not terrible. Could be a lot worse, but he's gonna have to replace that. Not by choice. You can't choose to replace your wing. It does. The sim decides for you. He's gonna lose 5 seconds on his pit stop.
Could be worse. Could be a lot longer change than that, but relatively quick change. It's certainly going to hurt him in this close of a battle right now. You see the brakes glowing on the 88. Adam Crane just up the road in the 6th car. Where did he start? 16th. So he's also come forward quite a bit. I love the look of this aero screen. I liked it when it came out, but it's really starting to warm up. Even to me, from the front, it's starting to look like it belongs there. Over time, I'm starting to get used to it, much like I did with the Halo in Formula 1.
Yeah.
I think the integrations in future cars will be even better, but I still think it looks
really like the side angles and like the upper angles. This car, it looks really good. I still think it looks a little bit weird and out of place from
yeah, I did too when it first came out, but I'm just starting to warm up to it.
It is starting to warm up to me a little bit more, though. I am interested in seeing how it looks on the next generation IndyCar, though, because I think it'll be like how we saw with the 2019 F1 cars, and they integrated into design a lot better. Looking at Kinsella up the inside of Brophy down into turn 1. Brophy going to try to pinch Kinsella, actually going to let him on by.
Oh, around that is, looks like Zep Cahill in the 57. Yes, it is.
Oh, man, this is an awkward place.
And how do you get yourself turned back around?
Wait for a gap in traffic.
Good luck with that. It's Long Beach. There's no such thing.
He's going to have, I think, a chance here after Wood. No, it's Weekly.
Oh, Weekly's going to lose it.
No.
And they're quickly going to have a roadblock. There's Chad Simpson going through.
Parallel parking is in effect.
And it looks like they're both going to get an opportunity to turn the cars around. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, no, it's not parallel parking. It's opposite. Never mind. I messed up the joke. Damn it.
Okay, good. Because I didn't hear it, so I'm glad that you didn't waste your effort on it. Down into turn 1, up there, there's Adam Blocker in the 1 car. Now, he's already made his first pit stop, and he's battling with the 25 of Ray Kingsbury. This is for position.
Oh, he's got some wing damage.
Definitely got some damage.
Something I think happened beforehand. I don't think the damage was from turn 1.
No, he didn't get any damage in that turn 1 incident, at least not significant damage, so there might have been a touch here. Jason Brophy hits pit lane in the 88, but this is an intense battle for 19th on the track, and Blocker goes through.
Blocker, I imagine, has been a little bit frustrated the way this race has gone.
And right behind is their leader, Zach Campbell, was almost a 10-second lead, so really no rush here. But we saw it last week at Barber. He said he was pushing, even though he needed to save fuel, and through Kingsbury, he goes to put Kingsbury a lap down. And this just goes to show you how fast Campbell's going. He's already lapping cars on lap 20.
It is pretty nuts. I mean, he's lapping guys that are running in 20th as he worked on by Kingsbury now.
Oh, man. I don't even know if Kingsbury meant to get up the inside there, but Blocker went so wide it just opened up the hole.
Props to Kingsbury to be reacting quick enough to not T-bone Blocker in the side that would cause a pileup there.
So 30 laps to go next time by. Campbell continues to lead. And looking back through the field, everyone's kind of found some own. They're actually the closest battle for position is Blocker and Kingsbury right now. And this is just the nature of Long Beach, often one on pit strategy. So it's a 2-stop race, and Blocker's already come on down. He's running. His last time by was a pretty slow lap because of all the traffic, but I mean, I don't know if anybody's got anything for Zach Campbell today. He's just on it.
Yeah, he really is on it, and we'll see here how long he can continue. I'm curious when he's going to make his trip down at the pit road. And I think this is a little bit different in comparison to Barber, where he's kind of pushing, and then, you know, came into the pits late. But we'll see here. What is he?
Oh, he's real tight understeer in turn 9. That was close.
Yeah, I was saying this is a harder place to push, so you'll see how he's going to continue this pace.
He looks really comfortable through turn 11, though. That's something where a lot of drivers seem to struggle, but that car hooks up in corners without lifting up the right front tire.
Yeah, you can definitely lose or gain a lot of time in turn 11, depending on how you take it, so it definitely requires a lot of skill to work through.
Andreas Ike in the 76. He's up to 16th. We mentioned him on the podium last week, up 4 spots. I don't think it's going to be quite a top 10 tonight, unless he has a little bit of luck. But Charles Ante's around. He's got big damage.
Oh, yeah, that's quite a bit of damage to his car.
Exit of turn 1 right in front of Kingsbury. This is for position, this battle.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to let Kingsbury on by.
Not. There he goes.
Yeah, I was going to say. No point in defending when you're missing the front half of your car. And looking at Ante down into turn 1. Oh,
had pressure from Blocker.
Straight into the wall.
Yeah, he had Blocker behind him that was putting on the pressure, and that's what turned him around.
Turn 1 has been Calamity Corner.
Flynn Lazier hits pit lane in his Spark VR number 4. He's on down. Marshall Stanley in the 55. He's looped in. This is down in turn 1, I believe.
Yeah, looks like he doesn't have any damage, but is now just trying to wait to join them back on the track. There he goes. And I was talking about there's not a whole lot of runoff except at the end of the straight, so he got a bit lucky with this.
Here's a look.
And just completely misses braking zone.
And the thing is, there's not a lot to use as reference down there.
Yeah. He did a good job. You know, you have to make the decision as a driver if you're going to make the corner or not. And he made the right decision of just bailing out on the corner, getting the car looped back around.
So, Flynn Lazier, I'm sorry to cut you off. We qualified 4th. He started all the way at the tail because of his EOL, and he was running 9th before his first pit stop, so he's got a lot of pace in this car.
Yeah, I was going to say, the stats, the plus.
Sorry, I tried to pull away from the mic, but you were talking, so.
Oh, yeah, no, it's all right. But yeah, what's shown on the sheets doesn't really match what happened on the track. Looking at Campbell into the pits,
and he's out. Yep. And Eric O'Connor, Henry Bennett follow him in, as does Philip Kraus. So lap number 23 for these guys. Now, we talked about no one-stop strategy. Oh, we still can't make it all the way. We're not to halfway.
Yeah. Everyone's coming in now.
Since when is 23 half of 51 kind of? Not today. Ray Kingsbury. I think he's just had a problem.
Yeah, he's really slow out of the corner, so something happened here. Oh yeah, just got a little bit sideways.
Backed it up, got it back rolling.
I was a bit lucky that no one was around him either.
Zach Campbell came into pit lane and came back out and never lost the lead. That's pretty incredible.
I was going to say, I think everyone's pretty much at the end of their limit on fuel.
How about Eric O'Connor? First start last week at Barber Motorsport Park, ran really well there, and already showing his pace in the 74 car.
Interesting. Again, we go to another road course, not next week, but in 2 weeks' time.
I'm so excited for that. Well, I used to very much dislike Circuit of the Americas.
I told you.
And I still don't think it's the best racetrack. I'm sorry, you're not going to convince me that.
Oh, I don't think so either.
And Watkins Glen aren't better racetracks, but Coda, A, it's beautiful in the iRacing service. And B, it's just a fun racetrack, especially with downforce cars.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think it's the best circuit either, but it's a solid circuit. Yeah, I definitely think so. The Kungo's flying on the straightaways. Lazier's are trying to catch up to Brophy, Ike, and Kinsella is for 8th.
A good thing we have an aero screen now.
How about Ike? Has Ike made? Oh, I don't think he's made.
He hasn't made a pit stop yet. No, that is true. That's not true. He has made a pit stop, but it was on lap 1 for the.
He hasn't made a green flag stop here, and I imagine he's gonna have to peel off either this time or next time. Guys.
Now going back to Coda, though, again, it's a racetrack that I learned to appreciate in recent weeks. And I am so excited because we've really never had, other than Redenzo Sports Car Challenge, which was marred with iRacing problems, we've never really had a race there that I would consider really top-notch. I mean, we've had the Grid Life cars there and the Mustangs, but those races are so chaotic, it's hard to really sit down and get to enjoy a really solid race. We've also had Grid Life go there in the Stadium Super Trucks, but that was just all chaos as well. So getting to enjoy a nice long race with a downforce car at that track, I'm so excited. Riley Thompson in 5th place. He's got Jamie Wilson behind him, putting on the pressure.
Trying to get a slipstream up on the 58, but no dice here. I can imagine we might see him potentially use some push past to eat him here, coming onto the front straightaway. He's close enough where it can definitely work.
Did he get a great run off?
Yeah, that's where
there he goes.
has been.
Push to pass on.
Let's see if he'll be able to. Yeah, he might get there.
See the green lights blinking and the green surround on the dashboard, and he's going to have a look here. Thompson knows it's coming. He chooses the middle of the racetrack, but he's going to leave the inside for Wilson.
He's not going to make it.
Oh, he's in deep, and he will make it. That was an incredible pass for Wilson. And cut it real close. That wall.
Let's go to a replay. I want to see how close he got to the tire barrier. It was awfully close.
Yeah, let's go back a little ways. Here is Jamie Wilson's on board. Oh, man. And then this is my favorite. This section, he's just
He
slinging
did
through.
a perfect job slowing that car down. Could have easily, if he made a mistake on the brakes, locked it up, he would have been in the tire barrier. So that was an impressive pass there.
And we were carrying a couple extra miles an hour, plus the slipstream. So, you know, if that was the first time that he's used push to pass, you don't know how fast you're going off into turn one. And your braking zone has to be adjusted, and you have to be ready for that.
Yeah, I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make when either using, you know, whether it's ERS push pass or even the DRS, you know, the extra speed you carry on the straight. A lot of people don't account for the fact you're going faster into a corner and you have to brake earlier. So that's a big mistake that a lot of people make. But Wilson avoiding that mistake and able to get the spot. Looking at Christian Steele, another new driver, made his first start last week. He's also done phenomenally well up in 7th.
Andrew Kinsella kind of hiding back here in 8th place in his teal kind of seafoam green car. This is a great race for him, 17th to 8th. You saw that was Joe Flanagan off to driver's right in turn 1, but Kinsella again, +9 so far. He's running lap times consistent with a top 7 or 6 finish. So all car around, that is the 22 with Simon Bryant. And we're going to try to see if we can pick up how he got himself sideways. This is a bad situation here.
He's going to have to do like a 16-point turn.
Oh, he's just going to leave.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and just not too much curb, started kind of bunny hopping and locked it down.
Yeah, he was trying to inch the car back, you know, back and forth, you know, nudge his way out. But yeah, you see the car bouncing, and you know, when you try to give the car power, but the wheels are not completely planted to the track.
Where are we?
I was gonna say asphalt. I don't know if it's necessarily asphalt.
This is concrete here. There's definitely asphalt in other places.
Yeah, so
Is this concrete? It is concrete, isn't it?
It looks like concrete.
Oh, okay. That's not a great place to go. It's got
really bad looking asphalt. That's asphalt. I don't know.
It's California. It's getting baked
There's
in the
some
sun.
like asphalt on the sides of it, but I think.
Well, it's asphalt in other places. These are definitely expansion joints here. But right here, this is asphalt.
Yeah. So whatever the part is,
We're gonna get yelled at for not knowing that.
Okay, so in that part of the track, it was asphalt. So yeah, he just wasn't able to get back on the power. Ooh,
Ike is in pit lane here.
Oh yeah, this is his scheduled stop.
Yeah, he didn't come when I thought he was coming a couple laps ago. So working lap number 27. Now that's awfully close. 27.
No, actually no. But remember, he came down, so he had a little bit of extra fuel.
Only like 2 laps worth.
Yeah, but still, these guys are running significantly short. So I don't know.
He's too far back, even if the other guy's pit. It's not.
Oh yeah, he's definitely not going to get a win. I think he might gain a few spots. So depending, we'll have to keep an eye on that 76.
Well, up front, yeah, Zach Campbell has started up front and never looked back. And just continues to check off really incredible laps. And I think you have to look at Coda next week and already give him the trophy for that one. You might as well. He's just been that much better than everybody else. And he's still running a whole full second faster than second place.
It really is impressive. He's probably going to be annoyed that we don't talk about him much because, I mean, he's too far ahead.
I mean, there ain't a story up front, Finney, and he's just driving away. I mean, it's really impressive. I'll give him that. But the battles are not happening at the front of the field. They're all
Eric O'Connor, we were talking about him. He finally got past Henry Bennett after trying for quite a while earlier on in the race, and he's expanded that gap to about 5 seconds between himself and Bennett, but has not really made inroads on Zach Campbell. Now looking at Chad Simpson, started in 19th up to 17th, hasn't really gone anywhere that far up the order.
Still the most beautiful car
Yeah.
in this entire simulation. I'm sorry. This is one of the prettiest paint schemes that I've ever seen, and I hope they never change it. It was great looking before, but it's even better looking now. Riley Thompson has Christian Steele kind of hunting him down. It's a 7/10 difference here. We're right on board with Steele.
Thompson, not that good. Actually,
Thompson's going to get a good launch on this straight.
and it didn't look like he was going to get that good of an exit, but he definitely saw the difference in priority. Christian Steele trying to carry the momentum through the corner a little bit more than Thompson. Thompson pretty much entirely just focusing on the exit, and that's really helps you defend from guys finishing trying to use push pass in behind you because you get such a good launch that the push pass kind of negate the push pass.
chasing each other through Sector 1. And third place, Henry Bennett now has a new friend tacked onto the tail. Whoa! And Phil Kraus
his friend almost ate the wall as he got sideways out of, I believe that is turn 6.
Yeah.
So
I also love, I really wish that we could paint the inside edge of these Halo devices because I love how Spark VR has taken advantage of that.
Yeah, they've done what the F1's been doing. They've just kind of been putting the logos there. It looks really cool. But yeah, they do really need a little bit more space to do
They need
stuff.
some more resolution there as well. A little bit,
yeah.
Working with what they got, but still pretty solid looking. So working lap number 30 of 51, and we'll be coming to about 20 laps to go here shortly. Let's jump back to Riley Thompson, Christian Steele, and 5th place Jamie Wilson just ahead of these two. This is the closest battle on the racetrack for position. And Jamie Wilson teammates to Josh Chin, who is out of this race already.
Yeah, back in 27 is where it's going to end up finishing 14 laps down, retired.
The Fountain Bend again. Christian Steele continues to run lap times on par with those in front of him and much quicker than Jamie Wilson. Both these drivers, Thompson and Steele, closed in on that 87 car, so we're going to have a 3-horse fight for 5th. There's Flynn Lazier. We talked about him briefly. Started all the way at the back of the field after an EOL at the race start, up into 9th. This is an incredible run. One of the biggest movers today, Finian, and this has got to be like a win for him right now. And he's actually running lap times fast enough to catch the drivers in front of him if he keeps going at this pace.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be, wondering, what could have been had he not had that EOL pedal. He probably could have had a shot at the win, if not at least the podium, but still top 10 considering you essentially start in the back is not too shabby at all. Ooh, one battle that's getting really close is up for our 3rd place. Looking at Henry Bennett, Philip Kraus down into turn 1. Kraus is pretty much there.
And I sense a pass coming here pretty soon. We're going to ride on board with Kraus here in a moment just to kind of get an idea of when he might use push to pass. This is all happening a long ways behind Eric O'Connor, so really no chance that they're going to catch him at this pace, but Kraus is close enough to make a move here.
Yeah, Bennett cannot afford to let Kraus get ahead of this. I mean, you might be thinking, the championship is more or less wrapped up. I mean, a lot can happen. And not only just in this race, but the next 2 races.
So Adam Blocker has just hit pit lane for his 2nd and final stop of the day. So we have to keep an eye on that 1 car. He is in. Still on board with Philip Kraus here. We're expecting him to use some push to pass here on the front straight this time.
Catching up to a lap car. Not sure who that is. Is that Ike?
It is Ike in the 76. He's back in 9th.
Yeah, we're probably not going to see Kraus use push pass because Bennett's going to get a tow from the car out, so he's going to have to wait another chance to make a pass.
We'll see if Ike fights this or if he'll just let Bennett on by.
No point in point fighting. He's going to peel off, let Bennett on by. Doesn't give the same courtesy, though, to Phil Kraus.
Run down to turn 2. He will let Kraus on through.
Look back at the battle and behind Christian.
Oh! And both are
Kinsella also got tapped.
Oh no!
Oh, Kinsella's also out too after getting damage from Kinsella or Thompson.
And this is a brutal accident that's gonna. Oh no! There's more trouble on the racetrack.
Still?
I thought there was. I'm sorry, I freaked out, but the timing and score. Oh, there was. Yeah. No, I was right.
So this is the result of Kinsella spinning out.
Yeah, here's a look. This is Flynn Lazier in the number 4. He's just going to come to a stop here, and Jason Brophy's going to get involved in this, and they all just come to a stop. They did a pretty good job minimizing that.
Yeah, so let's take a look to see where it started again.
It was Riley Thompson. You're going to have to help me out here a little bit. There's Christian Steele, Riley Thompson, and did Steele make a move down into turn 1? I wonder if Thompson. Oh, he's going to get the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And Steele's just a victim here.
Yeah, and then here comes Kinsella into this.
And he's going to get tagged. And he actually catches the wall, and then here comes Lazier.
Oh, he tried to get out of the way. Oh, and then Lazier came in. And Lazier ended up, I think, stalling.
They have anti-stall. I think he just was trying to get the car back in gear. Maybe he was in 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, that's probably
effectively a stall. Oh, Adam Crane's got damage too. More trouble. And is that the 25 of Ray Kingsbury? There's also been another crash on the racetrack.
Oh, man. Everyone's getting damage.
What the heck happened out here? This was just recent. Totally separate incident. Oh, no.
Oh, was that Chin?
That's Quinn. Oh, my goodness. All in one lap on lap 34.
Yeah, so we essentially lost almost 6 cars.
there's Crane. Can't do anything about it. And Ray Kingsbury gets involved as well. What a mess.
Oh, Blocker.
Adam Blocker's out. What's going on? He's been out for a while. He's been out for 2 laps.
It's a full moon at Long Beach.
Oh no. Here's a look. He just makes a huge mistake and just pounds the wall. What's going on? I don't understand.
This is turning into a demo derby. These guys are doing a pretty good job of that. We lost about 6 or 7 cars in the span of about
We have
2
half
minutes.
the field left. We started with 34 cars. We're down to 17 running.
So looking how many we lost just recently.
Blocker, Steele, Thompson, Quinn, Bryant,
Crane.
And look at this. This is for third. Here comes Kraus on Henry Bennett.
Man. I don't like the fact these guys are going to close together to see some more guys.
I don't understand.
They are dropping like flies. Oh, here we go. Push pass on the back straight. Kraus is close enough. He's
He's
trying to
go.
take
Here he comes. To the inside. Here comes Kraus for third. Podium position on the horizon. He's through.
Bennett gave him a lot of room.
Yeah, I think he had to. It really wouldn't have much of a choice. Hard to run side by side through here. Bennett unable to respond. Kraus to P3. And with Crane in the pits, wow, what a mess that one lap was. And look at all the junked cars on pit lane.
Yeah, it's a lot of torn up race cars. Tony Stewart would be happy.
The 77 of Frank Levick also down on pit lane for crash damage, so he got a piece of it somewhere. Zach Campbell continues to drive away, and I'm amazed that he didn't get caught up in this with all the carnage we just saw.
Yeah, it's wild.
He continues to just take off incredible laps. We're down to 16 cars.
Yeah, before that whole crashing spree went on, we're running with 21 left, which is not a lot, but not too little. But now we're down to 16.
Well, just like, Barber last week was not, I want to say similar, but we tore up a lot of cars before we even got to the start-finish line there. So, road courses have not been kind, and these are challenging tracks.
Yeah. Even Coda, too.
Well, Coda's challenging in a different way. It's not deadly, it's just very technical. I would be surprised if we saw a lot of crashes in a couple weeks. We're going to see a lot of spins, I think, next week. Or when the next round, when we go to round number 11.
Could be quite a few crashes, depending.
Depending on how soon in the race they happen.
Yeah.
I consider a crash something where you hit a wall or hit another car significantly. Just a tap and a spin, I don't really consider a crash.
Whoa!
Oh, he's in the wall.
That's a crash.
And there is a little damage.
I'm curious to see about the floor more than anything. Now, the bling's fine, but
Oh yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a bend up on that floor. It's not, I don't think it's going to matter. But just a slight scrape in the wall for Lichtenberg. He's inside the top 10. So there's a slight bend. Not going to be anything significant. Maybe not.
yeah, I was gonna say, it looks fine. Huh, I guess he got away with it.
Up front, lap 36 to 51.
I mean, this is not too far in behind Britton Lichtenberg on the same straightaway, in fact.
Eric O'Connor all the way at the other end of the course. 20 seconds back.
Just to give you a visual of the gap that O'Connor would have to make up, but there's no way that he can.
Keep an eye on these lap times though, because Kraus is in view.
I was gonna say that Kraus, I think, is catching back up to him. Yep, his 2:10 fast. He's gonna need to tick times a little bit quicker than that. He got back up to the 74, but definitely has the possibility of it. Especially depending on how many passes he has remaining.
He's used a couple so far.
Actually, we'd have to use the cockpit cam, but there's a way we can check.
We can go helmet cam. Let's pretend.
Yeah, I'm down for it. Oh,
We're not.
oh yeah, you have your field of view way too close, in my opinion.
I have my field of view correct, in my opinion.
Okay, so he's used 7. Now the number is showing. Actually, no, the number is showing how many he has left. So he has 7 remaining.
Oh, so he's only used 3.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like using cockpit cam. We just had to do that. We should set up a camera if we can for one of the suspension cams we can set up for that.
Yeah, I can do that.
I don't really use those a whole lot anyway. So for next round of Coda, we'll have that lined up. There's Jason Brophy in the 88, and avoiding all the carnage. He was kind of involved in a few small incidents today, but 14th to 8th. And his season, I think he surprised himself right out of the gate, won a couple of events, and looking pretty good in the points as well.
Only running third in the points, and so more or less continue around there, especially considering Joe Branch. Actually, where is Joe Branch?
Joe Branch is 14th.
Wow, when we last looked at him, he was running 29th. So just by running, he's 2 laps down. But just by finishing out this race, he's in 14th and potentially has a chance to climb him more. He's still got over 12, 13 laps, and considering how much we saw happen in the span of 2, I think a lot can still happen.
Yeah, I think Long Beach is one of these tracks that's so highly requested to put on schedules, and then people run it, and then I don't think it's going to be on the schedule anytime soon.
Well, we say that, well, this is actually the 5th running of this race.
Yeah, they come in quite a bit, and I'm curious to see what the reaction is afterward, if this is kind of par for the course, or if this is a bad day.
I think it's pretty much par for the course. A few old league races I've done here, it's been pretty much like this, where, less than maybe 40% on a good day the fuel finishes the race.
Belle must be very similar in that regard. We've only ever seen that in Scar's Ferrari Challenge.
Yes, we have. We have not seen a...
Which is amazing, because that was another track that was so popular when it came out.
I'm surprised these guys haven't gone there.
Me too.
Over the 2 seasons we've done with them.
Again, I imagine we might see that in the next schedule.
I hope so.
It's such an underutilized track.
If not, I'm going to request Joe that he had it. Personal.
I don't think the drivers would be super on board, but... We got a Watkins Glen with this group either?
Could have sworn we did. I feel like we won last season. I can check there.
I don't remember. I feel like we didn't.
Season 5.
Huh. IPSC. So we haven't been to Watkins Glen. We haven't been to Bell. Where have we been? We haven't been to Sonoma? Goodness gracious, guys. Let's get on some road courses.
Sonoma's kind of... not that big of a fan of
It's not like Long Beach is any better for racing than Sonoma is.
Well, I'd rather see you guys go around here, because this is really brings out the best drivers, I think. Those
brings out the ones that, well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say bring out the ones that need to practice more. There's a rhythm track.
Which I would say is a better driver.
Well, you're not wrong. I just think Sonoma's prettier, because iRacing is terrible.
Yes.
But coming to 10 laps to go next time by, well, two laps from now. Nothing really happening out there on the racetrack, Finney, and everyone's just kind of found their own space. Joe Branch has come in for his last pit stop of the day with 12 laps to go. Where else have we not been? So we haven't been to Sonoma or Watkins Glen or Belle Isle. Obviously, tracks like Road Atlanta we would never go to because it's not something we've run.
Have we gone to a tiki with these guys?
We have. We did it this season, actually.
Okay. New Hampshire, I don't think we've done.
Oh, I feel like we did that.
No, we did do that. We did it last season.
I'm thinking road courses, though, because I think we have more ovals than road courses on these schedules. Oh, no, it's generally balanced pretty 6-6, isn't it?
Yeah, they balance it out pretty well.
Just trying to think. What other IndyCar tracks do we have that we haven't visited?
Have we been? No, we've been to Minot.
Yeah, car around, and it looks like it is Joe Branch. He'll get back rolling. Battle for 8th looks like it's heating up, so we'll take you there again, but... A little too much curb and a hippity-hoppity. Turn 5 is my property, and right in front of the leader here.
Whoa.
Just trying to get out of the way.
Luckily, he did not hit the wall.
And back up to Battle for 8th, there's Lichtenberg and Stanley. And mention about Road America. We've been to Road America, I feel like, last season.
Yes.
In Ohio, we did last season as well. Which, both those races were super entertaining.
And just looking here in season 4, the last season they had before we came on board, as Lichtenberg's heading down to pit road, they were feeling a little bit adventurous. They went to Detroit and Long Beach that season.
Oh, wow. 10 laps to go for leader Zach Campbell. Eric O'Connor 20 seconds back in 2nd. And Philip Kraus in 3rd.
Yeah, Kraus has not been able to capitalize. In fact, last lap through he was a second slower than O'Connor, so he's been kind of struggling.
Negotiating some traffic also. There's Chad Simpson in the 42 Spark VR car. Simpson is in 10th.
His teammate of
I know the Fuel IndyCar Series just went to Road Atlanta, and I heard that they had a pretty good time there. And Road Atlanta is one of those tracks that is used quite widely in official sessions, but we have been there remarkably little for any kind of NASCAR or IndyCar stuff.
Yeah.
We've been there quite a bit for sports car racing, but not for IndyCar or NASCAR. And honestly, I'm still shocked that we have not seen a stock car race.
Well, granted, the only major event that they have there in real life is the Petit Le Mans. They don't really have any other major series come there.
This is for position, by the way. 9th place, Chad Simpson and Jason Brophy. Yeah, you're not wrong, but it's so well suited.
Yeah, no, I
so many different kinds of racing.
I was gonna say definitely should start going there more, especially considering NASCAR technically owns it, but that's a story for another day, I guess. Looking at Brophy trying to work on Chad Simpson, like you're saying, battle for 9th place between these drivers.
Cohen's flying across the racetrack. I'm shocked we haven't seen that get stuck up underneath a wing. More cones flying. That's Andrew Kinsella.
I think something happened to Flynn Lazier.
No, Flynn Lazier is in pit lane, but he hasn't left.
He might have gotten a penalty. He was in it for quite a while.
Yeah, the pit stop was a 23-second stop, so that's a penalty for Flynn Lazier. There's Chad Simpson going on by. Down into turn 1, following Jason Brophy.
Brakes blowing on this car, using up as much as he can for it.
Eric O'Connor and Henry Bennett in and out of their boxes. Jimmy Wilson moves up into second, and Zach Campbell he's already made his final pit stop of the night, it looks like. Yes, he just came on down, so still has a 7-second lead.
Seeing the amount of a lead that he has, still the fact that Wilson really hasn't gotten that much closer to him.
Lichtenberg and Lazier, this is for a top 10 position right now.
Yeah, and you see that Lichtenberg's behind Campbell's. That's showing only 9 cars on the lead lap. Oh, it's still 9 laps to go.
Hearing it was a rear wing change for fountain contact for Flynn Lazier.
Oh, okay.
So not a penalty, just all contact there. Marshall Stanley in and out, rolls out back in 7th. And he'll go down another spot. Here comes Brophy. And Lichtenberg and Lazier, the closest for position fight on the racetrack at the moment. Jimmy Wilson hits pit lane from 2nd. There's Marshall Stanley pulling out right in front of Brendan Lichtenberg. This is going to get tight down into turn 1. Real tight. Wow. And wow, that was an incredible rejoin by Stanley to hang on to 8th place.
Yeah, I was curious who was going to be the one to give up, because someone had to give in that situation. We now got a tight battle for 8th with Stanley, Lichtenberg, and Lazier.
And still has to wait for those tires to come up to temp here a bit. So Jimmy Wilson leaves his box in pit lane, but here's Stanley.
I think the matte finish on this car looks really nice.
Oh, that tire wall just sticks out just enough.
Looks like Lichtenberg's dropping more back towards Lazier.
Big wobble for Lazier. That was a big slide, and Lichtenberg almost caught the wall, too.
Yeah, he made a mistake. He backed off quite a bit. Now he's gotten even closer to the clutches of the 4 car.
Lots of cones flying around, and you're just waiting to see if any. Look at Lazier throttling down.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to maybe use some push
he did already.
here.
That's why he was so slippery on it.
There he is. And he's going to have a look down into turn 1. Here he comes. Lichtenberg goes defensive. White line to the inside down into turn 1. He's going to back out, and he's wide.
He's going to slide. Wow.
He saved it. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. You can hear
push to pass.
Yeah, you can hear Lazier. He was on the rev limiter before he even got to the end of the straightaway.
Somehow push to pass is so much less arcadey to me than DRS is. I like the idea that you can use it whenever and wherever you want.
Yeah.
And as Lazier blanks out for a moment, and then it's not dependent on who's around you. I think that to me about the DRS system kind of, I don't want to say cheapens it, but you don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird because, DRS, it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
And they need it a lot more.
It makes the racing better in Formula 1, but I like this system better than DRS.
I was going to say, it's better for these guys. It's a better solution because they don't need DRS because the aero isn't as bad as it is in F1. F1, it's really.
I mean, it roughly accomplishes the same thing where you get to pass someone on the end of a straight, but you can also use it in a defensive manner as well.
Yeah. Actually, shout out to Chain Bear F1. He did a video on DRS. He was talking about that. We should watch it after. Yeah, it's a really good video. He goes over exactly like why we need it. He was going over arguments for it. I do wish we would have the modern push to pass.
Oh my gosh, that drives me crazy. I mean, for those that are watching that aren't aware of this, so push to pass is essentially you get a little extra power by the click of a button, only for a little bit per race. Now, the old system, which is the version of the system that we have in iRacing right now, you get 10 applications, and that will basically give you extra power essentially until you lift off the throttle.
Yeah, you get one use for like I think up to 20 seconds, something like that.
So the new system now, you get basically a set number of seconds, and you probably know the number off the top of your head.
I do not.
Okay, so you get a set number of seconds to use over the course of the race for as long or as little as you want at each short burst. So that system is so much better than the defined number of uses. But of course, iRacing a little bit behind in that regard. I'm still shocked we don't have that, but hopefully someday we will. Zach Campbell leads with 5 laps to go. He's actually closing in on Jason Brophy in the 88, and this will only put 6 cars on the lead lap if he can get through Brophy here shortly. So just been incredible domination by the 144. Let's run on board. Let's do a little SYM TV sound surge here for a couple laps. Brendan Lichtenberg just went for a spin here a couple moments ago. Let's go back and see what happened. He was down in turn number 1. Finney just overcharged the braking zone and is going to go for a bit of a ride here. It's locked up. Couldn't make the corner. Got some left front damage. He actually hit that wall pretty hard. And battle for second. Eric O'Connor and Philip Kraus has caught him, and it's only a second back now.
Yeah, it was actually closer at one point. I was looking. It was about closest to as a 10th. I think Kraus had to back off and give some time back to O'Connor here, but it definitely was in range to attack, and I think he's got 4 passes I can read from here. There we go. Got 4 uses left.
On board the cockpit.
Actually, since we're here, let's look at how much O'Connor has, because this is how many he can use in defense. He's only got 1. Ooh.
Oh boy, so now the strategy
So Kraus can use it on every single straightaway here now. We're going to see him every single time he's going to be on the button.
Here we go.
Or not.
He's going to conserve it. Maybe he plans to use it on the back straight. He's used it on the back straight before. Now with 3 laps to go for these guys, 2 laps to go next time by for Zach Campbell. Into turn 1, and he's, big bobble by Eric O'Connor through turn 1. And he's right on top of him now. Battle for P2 at Long Beach.
Yeah, I don't know Kraus with the comeback here. I did not think he would get back to O'Connor. I thought the gap was too great. He was not making enough inroads on him, but with 3 laps to go, he's going to get a little bit sideways.
He is driving the wheels off it right now into the braking zone for turn 6. Throttle's back up. And we'll see if he's on the button here. And you'd be silly not to be at this point. You might as well. There he goes.
Purely just catch back up to him here, and then if he can get close enough by the end of the next straightaway, he can make a lunge on him.
Eric O'Connor took a big bunny hop over the curb in turn 9, and Kraus is there. Going to be 2 laps to go. Try to late apex this and get a run onto the front straight. He's going to be about 3 car lengths back, and he's, again, not on the button. Why?
Yeah, I think he's trying
here he is. That was a late application.
Interesting.
That didn't really do him a whole lot of good there, Finney, but he's going to be close. Oh, he's wide and through turn 1. O'Connor was pancakes. The wall is there.
Somehow O'Connor did not hit the wall. I heard him start to slide, and he was able to avoid it, so he'll hold on to second for now. But, man, this battle is far from over.
O'Connor.
Kraus!
Oh, man, they're really wheeling it right now. And the battle is for second place. They're going to have 1 lap to go next time by.
He gave up a lot of time there. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say this battle's over, but it's looking kind of grim for Kraus. And he's essentially got one more run down to turn 1 when they get the white flag.
And I'm sure he's going to try to be on the button again as much as he can. White flag in the air for leader Zach Campbell. The fight is for second. And there's some lap traffic. That's Brennan Lichtenberg right in front of Eric O'Connor. And we'll see if this plays into it here. O'Connor is likely to use this, his last push to pass in defense here.
He already used it, he's out.
Oh, he's out. So O'Connor is out of push to pass, and Kraus is almost certainly going to be on it. Here he is. He's got 0.8 of a second to make up in a lap. That's a lot of time.
Yeah, it is a lot of time. I think he's going to...
Oh, he's tacking out down into turn 1 on the rev limiter over the curb through turn 1. He's flying right now.
He's got one more use left, and he has a chance of using it on the back straightaway, and O'Connor has nothing to defend from that, so he's got to prioritize the exit out of turn 8. That's his last chance.
He's got to be perfect, though. It's still 7 tenths. Oh, big slide out of turn 5.
Ooh, almost turned the car right into the wall.
Checkered flag waves for Zach Campbell. Nobody was good enough to battle him today. He'll come through the last corner and pick up another win. 2 in a row for Campbell for second place, though. Half a second. O'Connor and Kraus is on the button.
Oh, you gotta really poor exit out of the corner. Look at the gap now.
And that is it. That's all Kraus is going to have for push to pass. He's still a little too far back. He chucks it through turn 9. But Eric O'Connor, after starting in 3rd place tonight, he's going to go through the final corner, and without any drama, bit of a slide on corner exit, he'll come through for a second. Kraus gave it everything he can, and he'll come home in 3rd. A great points night regardless.
I was going to say, even if he didn't finish in 2nd, he's still... The key thing is he finished in front of Henry Bennett.
Oh, here's a lap down. Never mind. I'm sorry. Jason Brophy in 7th place. Here comes Bennett through 4th.
Jamie Wilson going to come home in 5th as he comes out of the final corner. Andrew Kinsella is going to be the last car that finishes on the lead lap. Wow.
Pretty crazy. And so he'll come through. But Zach Campbell going to come back around and probably do some burnouts here. I mean, untouched. There's no one that compares to him right now on the road courses, especially at these technical tracks. Just went out there and led pretty much every lap, and it's just been so impressive to watch him do this. And officially checkered flag complete. And the last driver to cross the line is Andrew Kinsella, but Zach Campbell, 2 in a row, and from pole to win at Long Beach. And he'll probably head for potentially some runoff area down here in turn 1. And this is how you know this driver knows what to do. You'll always seek the runoff area to do some burnouts in, and it looks like that's going to be the case here. He'll head down into the turn 1 zone and burn it down. Camera's aren't going to want to cooperate because they're the other side of the track, but
all of these.
We're right on board. Regardless, let's take a look at your race results here, Finian, and it was Campbell, O'Connor, and Kraus on the podium, but nobody else really even close to Zach Campbell today.
Yeah, it's a blowout really for Campbell yet again. 2 wins in a row. He's been dominating the road side of things lately. We'll see if he continues that next week at COTA. And just kind of looking through the rest of your order here. Marshall Stanley had a good day up in 8th. Quinn Lazier again started in the back end and finishing in 9th. Lichtenberg's been around in your top 10. Just kind of looking through, you're going to see a lot of the guys that did not make it to the checkered flag.
It's amazing. Adam Blocker's amazing season last year and how disastrous this one has been for him. 21st place tonight. Chris Cahill didn't have a very good run. Neither did Simon Bryan, Bradley Walters, Dan Ensch, and a bunch of others. Matt Kingsbury got caught up in incidents. So there's a whole lot of a mess tonight.
Yeah, 35th on back, didn't start the race. See how many guys ended up missing. Aaron Ruffs and some big names here. Cohen Evans, he's been struggling to qualify the last 2 weeks, so it's been unfortunate for him. He wasn't able to start this one either.
So we'll be back in just a couple minutes with your top 3 finishers here. Campbell, O'Connor, and Kraus. We'll be back after a word from Coca-Cola of Kokomo.
My father's father had 2 brothers and a sister. His older sister, Hazel, had married a man named Jim Yunker, and he was involved in the bottling business early on, as early as 1906 in Indianapolis, and he sold flavors. He would have had grape, cream soda, blood orange, ginger ale. In 1915, he got the franchise for Coca-Cola in Indianapolis. So then we fast forward 20 years later to 1935. Jim Yunker approached my grandfather and his 2 brothers and said the franchises in Kokomo, Logansport, and Peru are available for sale, and you guys want this. Trust me, you want to get in the Coca-Cola business.
Yep. I got you.
Welcome back live to Long Beach, and the streets of Long Beach. Here is Zach Campbell, the race winner. Zach, from winning last week at Barber Motorsport Park to this week, no one could even touch you today, winning by 30 seconds, putting all but 6 a lap down. I mean, tonight was just absolute domination. Just walk us through your night and try to avoid all the carnage that was out there, specifically towards lap number 30 when it seemed like there was asteroids coming down and hitting all the drivers. We had about 8 cars leave the track on one lap. What was your experience like tonight?
Yeah, that was certainly interesting. I mean, I know we had the full course yellow, which at this track, you know, it's certainly interesting having, you know, that slow pace speed and just being able to save fuel so much. So it really kind of threw something we didn't expect in there. It was, you know, a really fun race overall. I love Long Beach as a track. I think it's fantastic. I wish iRacing would finish it. It's one of the best street courses in the world and one of my favorite tracks. It was interesting. Obviously, attrition was a big factor too. It really, you know, I heard every about 3 seconds in Discord, whoa, 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 watch out, from the spotters we had in Trano and AJ. It was certainly an interesting event, but that doesn't mean it wasn't fun.
Looking ahead to Circuit of the Americas in a couple weeks, I mean, we could almost give you the trophy now with how you've been running. Does that pose a different challenge than Long Beach, or do you still feel like you're the favorite going into COTA?
I think COTA is a very hard track to judge because it's such a difficult track to get around. It's very long, it's very technical. This car has such a narrow operating window in the tires that you really can't do too much with it at COTA. You're kind of forced in a box with the setup. So we'll go there. It's set up a lot differently than most tracks. So I think it's kind of wide open here. I'm glad that you guys think I'm the favorite, but we'll have to see.
It's hard not to pick you after 2 consecutive wins at the road courses in a stretch all about turning left and right. Zach, thanks for talking. Congratulations on going 2 for 2 lately. We'll see you at COTA in 2 weeks.
No problem. Thank you so much. And thank you to my friend, Marco Brazil.
Alrighty, so Zach Campbell, the race winner here tonight, the 144. Let's move on now to... Oh, you gotta stop doing that. We're fighting over controls over here, guys. Don't worry, the unprofessionalism right now.
I'm the one who drags people.
We got Henry Bennett here, who finished 4th tonight in the 007. Henry, a pretty wild race out there. We're just taking a look at a pass that the 74 of Eric O'Connor pulled on you down in turn number 1. Walk us through your night tonight, battling the new push-to-pass system and other cars around you at this tight and technical Long Beach street.
Well, I got My qualifying didn't go so well. There was at least another couple of tenths in the car, so I could have got further up on the grid, but as it turned out, 6th place was a good place to be with the EOLs. I got bumped up to the front, and that kind of set the tone for the race. Just I was driving to finish, really. I knew there was pace in the car, but with the point standings, if I were to DNF, which is so easy around here, I'd be completely out of the championship. So I was probably running at least half a second to a second off the car's pace all night. So yeah, happy to finish. Philip just one spot ahead, isn't too bad. It keeps the points alive. Yeah, Eric, when he passed me, I got a bad hairpin. He got a good run out of the hairpin, and he was obviously on push to pass, so just let him have it. He was faster at that point, and same when Philip passed me. It was inevitable that they'd pass me at some point with my casual pace. But yeah, my only hope was perhaps them fighting at the end would slow them down or even cause a mistake. But I'm happy enough with 4th, but I kind of wish I'd be able to push harder, but you got to think of points.
Thinking of points is Henry Bennett. Got Coda in 2 weeks. Henry, good luck out there. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Moving on now to Philip Kraus, who finished 3rd tonight in the Spark VR IR18. And Philip, you had quite the run tonight. Started back in 12th position, avoided carnage left and right of the high attrition right here at the streets of Long Beach, but you came through to pass Henry Bennett and had a look at Eric O'Connor there in the final couple laps, but ran out of time and ran out of opportunities with the push to pass. Walk us through that battle in the closing laps.
It was a really good battle. I don't know if he didn't take tires on the last stop or he was just trying to stay alive, but I noticed after the stops that I was about 7 tenths a lap quicker, and then before the stops we were pretty much identical on pace, so I sort of figured he didn't take tires, so I started pushing because after I'd passed Henry, I sort of just puttered around. It was like, I don't want to crash. Everyone else has crashed already. I don't want to join the list, but once I saw I was lapping 7 tenths a lap quicker and I'm just puttering around, I figured I'd give it a shot and push it. I got up to him, spun the rears 2 laps in a row, and just overheated him too much, didn't have the grip to get back to him.
We head to Coda in a couple of weeks, and that's a racetrack that I think Zach Campbell might not have such a huge advantage at. How do you feel going into that race with your current point situation? You're sitting pretty right now, but is that a track you think you can beat Zach Campbell at?
No, just hoping to survive another race.
All right.
I don't know if I'll beat him, but survival's key at this point.
Survival is key. Philip Kraus, 3rd place tonight at the streets of Long Beach. Philip, congratulations. We'll talk to you at Coda.
Yep, thank you.
And Eric O'Connor finished 2nd place tonight in the number 74. Had to run away from Philip Kraus in the final moments. Eric, congratulations. The last couple of weeks have been pretty wild for you at Barber and now here at Long Beach, but 2nd place holding off Philip Kraus in the final moments. Walk us through that dogfight you guys had in the final laps.
Yeah, those last few laps were wild. After I got around Henry, I was in pretty much no man's land there for a while, and then the pressure was on big time at the end. I don't know I think I got into the wall a couple laps after the stop because I saw Philip was really running me down. He was just flying there at the end, and I got in that wall, had a slight bit of right front wing damage. And then from that made it for the last few laps going into turn 1. I was just on ice. It was sketchy. So I really couldn't push it too hard, and that's where he was really, really eating into into the gap I had on him. And then same thing in the last few corners. He just was so much better through there than I was.
In a couple of weeks, we head to Circuit of the Americas, another road course on the schedule, the 3rd one in a row. Zach Campbell's been pretty solid the last couple of weeks, but do you think you can take the fight to him in Austin, Texas?
I don't know. He's been just dominant. I had a better lap than what I had it shown in qualifying. My 3rd lap, I think I ran a 106.89 or a 9.0, but I got like a Phantom X at the fountain, so that sucked. But I think he would have got me either way, even with starting on pole. If I did, I'm pretty sure he was so much better than me here today. I feel like this is one of my better tracks. I don't feel anywhere near as good at Coda, so if he was able to be that much better here today, I just don't see it happening at Coda.
Either way, Eric, it's been a really successful round for you here at the streets of Long Beach. Congratulations on a solid podium finish, and we'll see you at Coda to try to take down that 144. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us here from Long Beach here, Finney. We'll run through the results one last time, but again, tonight was just an absolute dominating performance by Zach Campbell in the 144, but the point situation, Kraus continues to just edge out Henry Bennett. We're getting to the point now where it's getting almost too late.
Yeah, and remember last season we had the points pretty much determined before we got to Auto Club for the finale, where essentially, because remember that is a double points event, Blocker had over 100 points to I believe it was Henry Bennett actually in second place. So looking like a similar situation for Bennett. He's just going to be a little bit too far gone. We do have still have 2 rounds to go to Coda in 2 weeks time, and then wrap up the season at Indianapolis double points event. So if something bad does happen to Kraus in both races, it very well could shift in Bennett's favor. However, at the pace and the consistency that Kraus has been showing, it's looking more and more unlikely.
That's going to do it for us tonight. We're not done streaming tonight, though. It'll be at 9:40 p.m. at Watkins Glen with the Super Late Models. We'll see you there for the 3-Wide Racing League Super Late Model Championship. We'll be back in just a little bit. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.